How's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another edition of the Stupid Questions podcast. Today in the pod, we're going to be talking with Fred Funk. He's a professional triathlete who is on the podcast today talking a little bit about his life, about the T100 Singapore race that he just happened to be a part of, and also just what's going on in his life. Awesome guy, super nice. And if you want to check out his YouTube, I would encourage you to do that. Super high quality videos there. But without further ado, I want to introduce you to Mr. Fred Funk. What time is it there where you are right now?
6 p.m. Yeah,
Okay,
in
nice.
in Austria,
In
where I
Austria.
live.
Okay, nice. Yeah. In right before T100, you still over in Australia?
Yeah, I was there for 10 weeks in Nusa,
Okay,
and
nice.
then basically T100 Singapore was our layover
Yeah.
on the way back to Europe.
Yeah, for sure. How's it being back home?
Oh, it's so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, including Singapore was 11 weeks away. And yeah, I'm definitely someone who is drawn to home. Like I live in the mountains in the Alps. I grew up
Mm,
here as well, like near. And yeah, it's just such a good feeling to be back. It's like gives me the energy I was missing like the last two months. Yeah, I mean
yeah.
Australia was like really nice and
Hmm.
we loved the trip and enjoyed every second, and like I would definitely want to go back as well, but like yeah, nothing beats home.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always that comfort that you can't get many other places than
Yeah,
like you're staying at
exactly.
home. Yeah. How long are you going to be home now then, until the next, I guess, big training camp somewhere else
Yeah, un
slash racing?
unfortunately only 2 weeks. So I mean,
Oh,
like
short.
one and a half from now, like then I
Hmm.
leave for an altitude camp to Sierra Nevada in Spain,
Okay.
and then from there it's like I go down to race the championship Challenge Submarine. I then fly to the US to Park City for
Hmm.
another altitude training camp. Stay there for 3 weeks as well, and then fly from there to T100 Vancouver.
Hmm.
And then back home, and then the last training block for Challenge Roth in July, my first long distance. I will do at home, and that's gonna be on 6th of July. The
Yeah.
yeah, the
Do you
race.
find, I'm just curious really quick before we get into some of the other background questions, do you find that having the T100 schedule relatively planned out, I know they're still trying to figure out some stuff, but the fact that you can plan your schedule a little bit more concretely, does that decrease your stress throughout the year?
Mm, yeah, kind of. Yeah, like it's definitely good that you can plan ahead. It's like easier than like if you have to hope for wild cards, try to get into the series. So yeah, I mean, basically the first part of the season, I planned all around Challenge Roth.
Hmm.
So I like picked my T100 races, which fits the best into the preparation for that. And then for the second half of the season, I didn't really choose yet which races I'm gonna do and which races I'm not going to do. But um, yeah, it probably depends where I'm standing by then in the rankings. How is my shape? How is my recovery going for my first long distance as well, and all that.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's really easy like that you can plan ahead. I'm
Yeah.
also like a guy who wants to plan ahead. So
Yeah. Yeah, planning's huge. Really quick, I did notice in the settings your mic is set for your AirPods and not your actual studio mic. Do you want to change it really quick? I may have
oh
to.
yeah,
Let me know if
oh
it'll let you change.
it
It
just
won't.
says I can't switch. Yeah,
In the
exactly.
V7 Plus, it's like the new one, but it has the cool
Yeah,
lights and all
so
that stuff.
yeah, I've got the normal MV7, I think.
Yeah, nice. Cool. Well, I guess first off, I should just say thank you so much for taking the time and jumping on the podcast. It's been fun to follow your journey as I've gotten into the sport over the past 4 years. So getting to meet you, or somewhat face to face over the screen, is an honor. So thanks for making the time, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and yeah, nice to meet you as well. Like
Yeah,
looking forward to chat.
yeah, for sure. So first question, from your perspective, who is Freddie Funk?
Yeah, great and difficult questions to start with, but
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, like broadly, I'm a professional triathlete. I'm from Germany. I live in Austria in the mountains. Like we just talked about in the intro, I
Hmm.
and enjoy the mountains and my home the most. Yeah, I love to train in the nature, especially. That's why, for example, something like high rocks, I don't give a shit about. Like
It's
I
sad.
need to
Somebody said it.
I need the nature. So I want to be out there. That's like for me what's kind of the best thing about being a professional triathlete, that I have the privilege to do that every day, all day.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like chasing my dreams and big goals. For example, becoming world champion once. Maybe I can do it in my career, maybe not. But by the end of the career, I wanna look back and I want to have enjoyed every part of the journey. Never mind if I made my goals or not. I want to enjoy it. Like I'm always saying that the results are like 1% of your career, and the other 99% is like everything around that. So I want to enjoy everything around it, and obviously I want to have good results. But yeah, it's important to look back on a career and just enjoy the path.
Yeah, for sure. Is that difficult to do?
Definitely. I mean, you're like always chasing your goals. You know, you have small goals, you have big goals. There's always something to chase. So once you reach something, then there's something next coming, something even bigger, and you kind of like get ahead of yourself. Like maybe have like a great result, and you just like next day you're back out there, back training. Which is, of course, like you can say it's professional in one part, but I think it's important to also just like let it sink in, enjoy it, especially also with your team and your loved ones, who are also a really big part of the journey. Triathlon is definitely not just individual sport. Like especially every pro athlete has like a big team around themselves, and yeah, so like. Basically, once in a while, it's good to stop and look how far you've come.
Yeah, for sure. And you said that you love this sport, and for most people, I would ask, is that more nature or nurture? But from reading into a little bit of your history, it seems like there was a lot of nurture involved for you getting into the sport from the age of 5 with your parents. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I got born into the sport, and both of my parents did the triathlon or doing it for over 30 years, and they were also like, I mean, they had like a professional license at one point. They were never like full professionals because they were always at least like studying, but then also full-time working next to. I was early on, I was with them at races, had my grandparents babysitting me, and so was like at the race sites, had all the atmosphere. I was at Challenge Roth later on when I was a bit older. I even joined them for the Ironman Kona, Hawaii. I was there 3 times already as well to watch the race and support my parents. And so yeah, they kind of introduced me into the sport, but never really, they never forced me to do it or anything like that. Of course, they like signed me up for races when I was 5 years old. Obviously, that's not 100% my decision, but yeah. I guess I enjoyed it. And then luckily, they also made me, like I can say luckily now, they also made me learn swimming relatively early. I was not part of like a swim squad or anything, but at least I learned how to swim, which, like, as you can see now from other professional triathletes, that it gets difficult if you didn't learn it early.
Yeah, for sure.
And and then also we had a local triathlon club where I had some friends in there and like some people who kept me going to the trainings, and but more of like my parents always like, which they mostly introduced me to, is not just the sport but also like the fun of the sport, or like and be basically enjoying it, and also that it's not it's not your whole life. So like their motto always was like balancing family with like movement. And it's like kind of so they were always like in the everyday life, they like kind of were connecting it, like taking us along, just having fun moving more or less. So just like having fun doing the sport, not doing it for like for a purpose of like reaching big goals in the sport. Obviously, I'm a completely professional triathlete now, so it's still like, yeah, very, very big part of my life. But in the end of the day, I think it's just important that there's also like things next to the sport which you should focus on as well. Otherwise, when something goes wrong in the sport, then you're there with nothing, And so, yeah. And yeah, so my parents basically inspired and still inspiring me for that. And I'm really thankful to them, and they always supported me in my professional career. And of course, I have two siblings. They're not really into triathlon, or at least not like into doing triathlon. And I'm sure my parents are happy that at least one of us like keeping yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So with your siblings, are you older or are you younger? Or are you in the middle?
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Okay, nice. How do you find that, being the oldest big brother?
Yeah, it's like, I think it's nice because kind of had to learn taking responsibility early on, and also like taking care of myself. Obviously, it's not like my parents stopped caring about me as soon my siblings came along. But
Sure.
when it's like three kids, of course, and I'm the oldest, and I'm often like on myself. So like early on, like I kind of did things or learned to do things as a kid by myself, where other kids maybe still had their parents with themselves. And I think it's good. It like builds you as a person. And I think that's something you take away as the oldest child. While probably the youngest child is probably the opposite in most cases.
Yeah, I'm also the oldest. I have two younger sisters, and I've thought, would I ever want to be the middle or the youngest? And no, I like the way it turned out.
Yeah.
I guess that's what everyone would say wherever they end up in the lineup, right?
Yeah,
So,
I guess.
who are you more like, your mom or your dad, do you think?
Yeah, that's like looks definitely like my dad, obviously.
Okay.
Like if I see like pictures from my dad from in my age, it's kind of like I'm looking at myself. It's really funny.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And but yeah, it's, I think, kind of like character. I think it's my mom rather, actually. Like in most aspects. Maybe the calmness of my dad. So yeah, in the end of the day, definitely a mix of both.
Sure. Yeah. So you're obviously the one who carried on the family torch with triathlon. How would you describe the feeling of your parents being proud of you for what you do?
I think it makes me proud that they are proud. So no, it's like of course, like it's not something that what I like strive for like directly. I mean, of course, I want to make them proud, but it's like, if they're not, then well, it's like kind of my thing. So I'm like, I would say maybe like I'm a like also a bit of selfish person, maybe that's why I ended up in triathlon, because like also very, very selfish sport. But I also like don't really care even that much
Really?
what my parents think like of what I'm doing. But then of course I care a lot if it's positive. So if like basically
strengthens me, like that they're proud of me, and that of course makes me happy, and just like also keeps me motivated, of course, continue to do what I do.
Yeah, for sure. So I also read about you that from a young age you really wanted to be a professional soccer player, football player.
Yeah.
So tell me how and when the shift took place in your mind when you started to kind of put to bed that dream and then resurrect or bring to life the dream of being a world champion triathlete.
Well, like the funny thing, like when I was playing soccer in my local club, which it's not like a Bundesliga team or any big team, or like I mean I was really young, so of course I didn't think of like what it takes to be a professional soccer player, because no, like in that age I think you would already have to play, if you take it realistically, you would already have to play at one of the big clubs like in the youth to then like go up to the professionals and all that. So yeah, I was not like a really good soccer player, that I was near there. I just enjoyed it, and enjoyed doing like sports every day. So it was kind of like the nicest thing for me to be a professional athlete, and in that case soccer player, to do that every day for a living. And eventually I always did some triathlons next to, without much training, or my training was kind of like the soccer practice, and some like once or twice swimming per week, and then like I started like winning some regional races, and with that I got into like the county or like state squad, so not the national but like one below basically. And that got me really motivated, and I was like, oh yeah, that's really nice now. Like I wonder what's happening if I take all my eggs into the triathlon basket. And so then I decided to let it be with soccer for the better.
When did you start to feel like, oh, I am living up to this, being a professional triathlete? Like, when did you feel like you were able to like take on that identity and it truly become something that you believed in?
So yeah, like when I went through the youth and junior years, I was always like top of the nationally. I was always like at least on a podium, like on the nationals. And so yeah, that kept me like really motivated and optimistic that I can really make it. And then eventually when I got to the elite, of course, first I wanted to be like, oh yes, like Olympic Games, that's the dream. But obviously especially when you're switching from a junior to elite, like the first year, you're like, it's a huge step, and you're like drowning, and you're obviously of course there are exemptions for some athletes, but like you're nowhere near the level you need to be like to be on top, or like running with the world's best and all that. So, and I was a bit impatient, I would say. So I didn't really like want to just stick to it and then see where I end up. So I kind of like tried myself around doing non-drafting races. And that really suited me, because my strength was always the bike. So then when there was no drafting, like it was easy to keep up with like back then world-class athletes. Like for example, my first Olympic distance I did against Michael Raelert, and he was a double 70.3 world champion. And we did like he won the race, and I got second, I think, or third, but we're not too far behind him, and definitely like very successful. And then also I tried my first middle distance and immediately ended up on the podium. Also got in that same year national champion on the in the elite on middle distance, and I also got so much more attention for that than getting like 10th in a European Cup or something, which is maybe really good, but no one cares.
Yeah.
and then of course I also got sponsors, and then I realized, I actually can earn money with this. So then I basically went all. I mean, I was already all in, but then I was like, well, I don't want to do any studies or anything. I just want to earn my money for now with triathlon.
Yeah.
Because I was like starting some study programs, but never ended up sticking to it, because I was just like, I couldn't do like triathlon, or I couldn't do each of it.
Yeah.
Just like partly. I want to do like one fully, and so and then when I realized I earned money with triathlon, it was easy to just like
it's easy to commit. Yeah.
Stop the studying. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that, when you decided to make the jump or to try out middle distance after the short course draft legal stuff, you mentioned that you had possibly a lack of patience. So do you ever think about what it would have been like, or do you have any regrets, or if you went back, would you go back to try to give it a little bit more time?
So I do think about it. Like, I don't have any regrets in my decisions, because I think the way I did it was good, and good for myself. And I, like I said, I started earning money with the sport, and like also got good on middle distance, had my results. And yeah, I think it's where, like right now where I'm at, I wouldn't have get there without obviously every step along the way.
Right.
But yeah, I still think about, of course, what would have been if I just stick too short, like be a bit more patient, put in the work, and then after 2-3 years actually end up there somewhere at the front of some races, and see, like, I don't know where it could have went at short distance, and then just make the switch like to middle distance, I don't know, much later, depending on how it goes in short distance. So yeah, but I never know. But one thing I know for sure, I wouldn't have earned any money with the sport for quite a long time, because I think on the short distance you really need to be like one of the probably 10 best in the world to earn proper money, which you can live on, because it's just like, yeah, you get some from your federation and like prize money, but like sponsors don't really care about short distance, at least in Germany for sure. And I mean, I know some of the German athletes who are one of the best short distance athletes, and yeah, I mean, it's if they enjoy that, like I don't think they're living off their parents' money, but I also don't think they're
Hurting.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think to get there, you basically either need a lot of money or live off your parents' money for quite a while, and I don't think I would have wanted to do that. So I'm quite happy with my decisions.
Yeah, for sure. With the survivability, like financially, do you find now at this stage that the sport of triathlon currently sits in, that it's easier or harder to find the money and the sponsors compared to when you like first moved over to middle distance?
I think it's getting harder. There might be more sponsors and also more money involved now than 6, 7, 8 years ago. But now there's obviously also a lot more athletes to choose for the sponsors, especially with the T100, you have the 20 best middle distance athletes in the world, and I would say they're kind of like taking probably 90% of all the money which comes from sponsors, because every sponsor wants the athletes I mean, it's obviously from a marketing perspective also makes sense, because you want to have like you rather pay more to one athlete in the top 20 or even top 5, top 3 than just pay, don't know, 5 athletes or 10 athletes or 20 athletes outside of the top 20. So you have a lot more from that, and and that's how it works. So they are taking the big part, the biggest part of the cake, and then for the others it gets super hard, even though they are like on a great athletes and super strong and on a great level. They are not missing much. It just still gets super hard to find any sponsors at all. I mean, financially. So it's definitely a tough business in that way.
Yeah, and it's definitely a business. So I'm curious also, as you have grown in your business acumen of being able to do the contracts and, negotiation and everything that entails working with sponsors and the people who support you, who has been, or what group has been the biggest mentor for you in helping lead you along that path to figure out how to best practice those business skills?
Yeah, I'm not doing it myself. I've got a manager, Tibi Sluvchik, and he actually doesn't like to be called my manager. It's actually more like my mentor. He likes it actually better, and because he took me like under his wings after my first year on the middle distance, 2018, where I was successful, and then after that season I got quite a lot of sponsoring offers from some brands, and I was lucky to have him right away, so he could start because when I was a young athlete and I was like the first time seeing actually sponsors who want to pay me money. So if someone comes and says, "Oh, here you got $1,000, but you have to post every second day about us," I would have just said, yeah, of course. Yeah, give me the $1,000, I'll do it. Yeah. So because it's like, and then he comes and obviously negotiates in a professional way and actually tells me, or tells the brands especially what I'm worth, and then obviously I got even better contracts. So since that he's doing that for me, but and of course takes me along the way and helps me a lot, also not just with the sponsoring stuff, but everything when it comes to the business or marketing perspective of a professional athlete. And I think I'm probably I think I'm on a really, really good way there. Also compared to athletes who are maybe more successful or have better results than me, but their marketing is just maybe not as good, or they just don't want to do it, But I think for me it's just a really, really big factor, and also enjoy doing it. So
that's good.
It's 50% that and 50% results, I would say.
Yeah. So with your YouTube channel that you've been growing, is that more out of necessity for the sport, or is that part of the thing that you really enjoy?
No, it's definitely mostly because I enjoy doing it. I enjoy sharing stuff. Enjoy taking the fans along my journey. And then of course there's because also in the end of the day it's a really good way to market myself, to sell my brand. It's good for my sponsors, and it kind of the investments I do there with time and money, it kind of it actually comes back. So that's then of course it makes me because I think if I would do it and then some people would watch it, but kind of I would just pay on top all the time and wouldn't make any money of it. I think after a while it would get tough, or I wouldn't see the sense in it anymore. I would ask myself should I keep doing it or not? But this way it's just like easy, and I'm definitely like, yeah, that's really good, and I keep doing that. And then in the end of my career, I left something. It's like I left some YouTube videos, and
You can show your
for
kids
the
someday
people
if you
to
have them.
yeah, for example.
Yeah. So with the YouTube, it's really well done. Like the color grading, the editing, like the thumbnails is all pretty high quality. Is that something
thank
that
you.
yeah. How much of that, like, are you directly involved in? Do you do the editing as well, or do you have someone you work with?
No, I actually have someone who is doing all that for me. His name is Tom Meyer. German guy who doesn't live too far, and now also especially for the new YouTube series, he actually travels along. He was in Australia with me. He was in Singapore. There will be the next episode actually coming on Sunday about Singapore, and he travels, like we were basically documenting my journey until my first long distance in Roth in July. For that I will actually have him everywhere. Like now he's basically got 2 weeks off from me, but then he's coming with me for all the training camps as well.
He's like your personal paparazzi.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's of course that's the extreme, I would say, doing that, and it's also very expensive. Like because I obviously have to pay all his travel, accommodation, and I still pay him also like a fee, or like a monthly fee, so like for working for me. But it's partly I got a budget from that for my sponsors, but because for me, it's the quality is really important. I still pay from my own pocket, like on top of it. But before that and also after that, I still do a lot of, like, I would always choose him because it's already now a good working, working partner for me. And he knows what I want, how I want it, and so that makes it really easy. And he's obviously doing it really well. So I'm really, really happy with it. And quality is definitely something which always comes first.
Yeah. So with all of your requirements via contracts, and then on top of, just the marketing that you personally like doing for your own brand, if you could race professionally at the same level, same races, have the same amount of financial gain and assets, but you didn't have to do all of the social media, would you still do it, you think?
I think I would actually, at this point, I think I would actually still do it, because I really enjoy doing it. Like, especially Instagram, I think, just like, sharing stuff, posting. I kind of like it, and it's also, don't know, something I like when I'm just lying on the couch. So I think maybe in maybe a bit less, that could be, but I would still do it.
Yeah. So with every good comment, there's probably 5 terrible comments of some people, especially on YouTube. There seems to be more haters in that world.
Yeah.
Do you read your comments? And if so, how does that affect you?
Yeah, I definitely read all of them. It's like, 99 really great comments, and you're like, oh, amazing, and then you have one bad comment, and you think about that all day.
Like, I'm useless.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's just like, you can never make everyone happy. I think especially for me, as a really very outgoing and outspoken person, like I'm not shy to share my opinion about stuff which is maybe controversial, and I think it's kind of like a part I feel like I need to I need to play as a professional triathlete. I kind of feel like it actually is the responsibility to stand up for things, and not just be quiet, do the training, have results. Like, I feel like as a professional athlete, you kind of have to be more than this. Otherwise, I think it gets like a really selfish sport. And I feel like it's like that one way you can kind of give it back to the society as a professional athlete, and of course, and then also inspiring and motivating people. But I mean, that's also kind of my my character, and that's not only because like I sell myself like this, but that's just really who I am, and I try to be as authentic as possible on social media. So I'm never backing off or just be quiet. So, and that obviously there are some people who don't like it, who share different opinion and who feel offended, and then go crazy in comments, or I don't know. And I just think you just have to learn to not care about that. And I think in the end of the day, you're winning more people over with stuff like this than you're like losing.
Yeah.
But it's like the people you don't need anyway. People like this. So
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I've struggled with that. Even doing the podcast, like you said, 99% of everything has been really good, but there's a few bad apples out there, and I do put way too much stock into when there was a negative review or whatever. I just like really let it eat me up, and I'm like, I think I've decided I'm no longer going to be reading the reviews. I'll read some
people who are like frustrated about themselves and just letting it out on other stuff. Yeah. So,
but I don't know if I actually believe that I can get to a place where it would not bother me. I really don't know. Maybe I'm just not mature enough. I don't know. But it's such a difficult thing, because I think even if I know something's not true, just the act of hearing it, I feel like is an important role it plays on me. It's just like running down the finish chute and people are cheering your name, like you run faster because it makes you feel better, even though like you're probably completely empty, right?
Which is really nice, and I also experienced already is like when you've got when you build a community and you've got other people standing up for you. Like I had already that there were negative comments, and then it's like I never answer negative comments, because never put fuel into the fire. Like you can never win with those people, because sometimes I really want to answer, and I was like, no, I need to ignore it, even like if it eats me up for the next hour. So, and then I never answer, but then sometimes I see, okay, like my community is actually defending me there, and that's like that makes it then like that's motivating them, like, and makes me happy again, and like then I don't have to take the fuel into the fire.
Yeah. For sure. So switching gears a little bit, just because it's pretty relevant, it just happened. You just had the T100 Singapore race, and every time I think about you guys racing there, I'm like, man, that place is so hot, and I know that I would not do super well, but some people do.
I
some
didn't
people
do
don't.
either.
Yeah. So walk me through that a little bit. Like, I guess from a mental perspective, like how are you feeling about how you did, and how is that affecting, where you sit now, and then how your outlook is looking toward the next several races and the months of training?
Yeah, so of course, so I unfortunately had a really bad race, and I already felt it in race week, to be honest, that something was off. I was just really smashed. Couldn't really like swim fast, ride fast. The running was actually okay in race week, but then obviously in the race, when swimming and running cycling is terrible, then you can forget about the running as well. And I think it was just we had such a huge load and training block in the 10 weeks prior in Australia that like this one day per week was just not enough to get like fresh for the race. And actually, like even the opposite, actually probably that first rest, when that first rest hit, it kind of made it even worse, and like took the body into like a energy saving mode or something. I probably should have just kept going, trained through that race. And I think it would have gone better if I would have just taken it as a hard training session. But yeah, so in the race I was just really like completely like, yeah, just felt really shit from the beginning of in the swim. Then on a bike, I even got like a slow flat in my rear tire, which I haven't realized in the race, but I was already wondering like over some bumps that it like feels a bit strange, but I couldn't really see it. And I lost so much time. Even I mean, my power was low and definitely not where I'm at or where I wanna be. But I still think for Singapore conditions, it's not like too far off. Like it was still decent. But for that, I still lost so much time, and so I think that was maybe because of my rear tire, or like partly because of it. Not that it would have made any difference anyways in the end result. And then on the run, it was just like a mental struggle or mental fight of just dropping out and just call it a day of finishing, and then made it actually to the finish. Which was a mental effort, but I think just feels so much better in the end than
when you finish.
Dropping out. Yeah. And I just treated it as like a long run in the end, because my muscles were just like so tight and everything that I couldn't even run fast anyway. So actually, I wish it was the heat, but I didn't feel hot even. Like my heart rate was like at like 150, and it didn't even make me feel really, really warm. Like, because I was actually quite heat adapted from Australia as well.
Yeah.
So but it's in the end of the day, like it was not. I wasn't super disappointed, because it was like I knew kind of why. I talked with my coach. He kind of said the same thing, that it was anyway like a 50-50, like a risk we were taking into this race. But then in the end of the day, it's beginning of April. We didn't want to be in shape for this race, like obviously fit and maybe in the race at least. That was the goal. But I think if you're coming to a T100 race, you kind of have to almost be in peak shape to be in the race, because the level is so insanely high. The guys like so fast, and it's just getting faster year by year. But we are on a good way, I think, to be in a great shape in the season when it matters more than in Singapore.
Yeah.
So not too disappointed, and already looking forward to the next race.
Yeah. As you go through your training regimen and you're coming into race week, and everyone's kind of looking for those pre-race feels where you're peaking a bit and you're feeling good, do you think that it's more important to feel good or believe good, like upstairs versus like in the heart?
I think both is very important. But I think believe good is almost makes a bigger difference than just feel good. Like if you're like in a good shape, or like feel good, but you don't believe in yourself, I think you tend to giving up really quickly in a race when something goes wrong, and something will always go wrong. Like you probably never have like the perfect day where everything goes right from start to finish, or it's really, really rare. And I think if you're like maybe a few % off, like feeling good, because I think especially as a professional athlete, the difference between worst fitness and highest fitness, like within the season, if you take away like after the off season or something, is actually really, really low. I think the difference between like peaking and being in a good shape. And so I think when you're like just in a good shape, but you really believe in yourself, like I think you can get really far with that.
Yeah, reach a new level. Yeah. So what helps you to like get in the zone, even like before race, or maybe it's before a big training session, or even maybe you have some laptop and contract work you need to do? Like what helps you get in the zone?
I think it's music mostly. Like I'm like a guy who really gets in the zone by music, and that really like like motivates me and pushes me, like good music, which I really like.
What's your favorite like song or artist or type of music that you go to?
Yeah, so it's like always switch between like American hip hop, like Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, or like house electro.
Okay, haven't heard of them.
So it's yeah,
Like
so like
EDM type music.
yeah.
Yeah, nice, sweet man. So tell me, as you're going through this next season, or I guess this 2025 season, in the pursuit of your dreams, like you still want to get to the best you can be, and being a world champion, what kind of sacrifices do you think that you'll have to make to get there?
I think luckily not too much, because I have like my wife supports me so incredibly much with all this that I feel like I almost have to make no sacrifices, because like kind of she's making all the sacrifices.
Yeah.
Which I'm really 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 thankful for, and obviously latest when I retire, I kind of want to give back for
Share
that.
back.
And yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, but it just helps me so much. I can just focus on what I'm doing, and know that I have her full support. Yeah, and in the end of the day, it's like I'm already so deep into the sport and professional triathlon, and built my whole life around it, that like I don't even see where I'm making sacrifices, or if I'm making any sacrifices, because like it's just like that's my everyday normal life.
Yeah. Well, that's a blessing, man. I know a lot of age grouper type athletes that are, they're elite amateurs, but it's really hard to balance those things in life, and
Yeah,
to have
definitely,
like a supportive
definitely.
wife, obviously, because it's your job. It works really well, and that's cool to hear that you want to give back. How did you meet your wife?
We met over triathlon as well, actually. So she's from Hungary.
Okay.
So we met when we were both still juniors, 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, all
How long
in
have you-
triathlon.
Yeah. And you got married like not too long ago, right? Couple of
Yeah,
years.
last year in November.
Last year.
Was actually 1 week before the grand final, T100 grand final in Dubai.
Oh, did you have a little bit extra wind in your sails then for the Dubai race?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, like training wise, no, but
Yeah.
but
But we
yeah,
said
that
it's
was
all up here. It's all
exactly. I just wanted to say that was probably one of that races where maybe like, yeah, training wise there was something missing, but mentally I was just like so refreshed and had this boost. So I had like actually a great race in Dubai.
Yeah. How do you think that, and maybe it's a little early to ask this question, but how do you think that marriage has taught you how to be like a better person, but also maybe even a better athlete?
Yeah, I think maybe it's a bit early for this question. No, the funny thing is like with my wife, it kind of like I sometimes forget that we're married. So it's like,
I'll tell you
because
that.
I just know her for so long, and we've been together like this whole time, that like kind of when we married, nothing other than like some papers have changed.
Yeah.
Has changed for us.
You're locked in.
So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, obviously I feel like, yeah, you're getting it just feels good, I think to be on a even like, if triathlon is just that one part of my life, but also it's like the other part of the life, which is all that kind of stuff, like marriage, or buying a house, and like these things, that there I'm definitely also like good on a good point in life, and this helps me, of course, for the mental aspect especially, and then for triathlon as well.
Yeah. Do you want to have like a family? Do you want to have kids?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not not straight away. Definitely wanna take or we wanna take our time with it, but
Sure.
definitely, yeah.
There's no rush. I've been married almost 8 years, and we're just thinking about kids here soon. So
Yeah, great.
yeah. So what kind of dad do you want to be?
Yeah, I think,
It's a big question.
yeah, that it is. Yeah, I think for sure someone who wants to like, kind of like, yeah, my dad or my parents who, like, of course, sometimes you need to be like strong with your child and also pressure some things, but more like, so like let them make their own decisions, but then kind of help them to stick to their decisions. So I think that's something which my parents did really well. Because like, you know, kids all over the place, they want to do that and that. But,
Yeah, changing every
yeah.
time they can.
But and yeah, I think just be there for them. I think just, you know, that's what you hear everywhere always, but I think it's also just like the most important thing. And then I think if you do that right, then everything else just goes by itself. And yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for?
Yeah, I think someone who, like, you mean like after my triathlon career, right?
Or after you die? Like, what's your legacy? We're going existential,
Yeah.
super deep now. What's going to be on your epitaph?
Uh, yeah, someone who like enjoyed the journey, like didn't think too much about past things, but learned from, other than like learning from mistakes or anything, but then lived the moment, and also like being optimistic, not think about tomorrow, but being optimistic about tomorrow, about the future. And yeah, and sport wise, just to have inspired and motivate a lot of people to reach their goals. Yeah, if it's if it's in a sport or not, that doesn't really matter. I think, like, it's not like I want to motivate the people to start triathlon. It's, I think, rather like want to motivate the people to reach their goals, and it can be outside of triathlon as well. So kind of stuff like that, and just generally as a happy person, I want to be remembered.
Yeah, for sure. So something I've noticed in my own journey and talking to other people is, you know, when we get into sports, anything that involves competition, and we find a little bit of success, that obviously feels really good. And then as we go throughout that journey and we progress, the law of diminishing returns kind of kicks in, and we start to see a little bit more of a plateau, and it can be discouraging. And then, you know, learning that lesson from, oh, it's all about the numbers and getting the placements and getting on the podium, to actually it's about the journey and I want to enjoy this. I wonder if, my question is, I wonder if, which it's twofold. Do you think that it's possible to get from that side to this side without going through the hard time? And if so, what would you give somebody as advice to help them to get to that place of, it's all about the enjoyment of the journey. It's not about where you're arriving. It's about where you're going to and the path between.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I would say, think about yourself in, like, at the end of your career, and then try to think in that situation that you are looking back on your career, and what's the things you are remembering the most. Is it like, of course, you like results and everything, and with results obviously also comes a lot of like emotions and everything, but in the end of the day, I think that's probably like 1%, and then exactly it's like 99% of it is like just a journey towards those results, and especially also the people you're sharing the journey with, like your support, your loved ones, and all that. So, and I think that's just, that's just an even bigger thing than what you reached in the end of the day. And I think that's how I would maybe try to explain it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for taking the moment to explain it. I always love asking those advice questions at the end because I think people really yearn to hear from people that they look up to, how they do life. So, but yeah, do you prefer, by the way, to be called Freddie, Frederic, Fred? Do you care?
I think most people call me Fred. Then in Australia, I was Freddy.
Freddy, okay.
Freddy, because Australian, I think, like to take a Y in the end of every word. Freddy.
Okay.
No, but I think Fred is like the most common. Yeah, my wife calls me Fred as well. So.
Okay, perfect. So that's
but Frederic, I think, is like. It's when your parents are angry with you, like Frederic.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Well, Fred, thank you so much, man, for taking the opportunity to sit down with me, especially with your busy schedule. I hope the next 2 weeks or week and a half of you spending time at home is restful and relaxing, and that you enjoy the next up-and-coming altitude camp. So make sure to link your YouTube so some people can go watch that and whatnot. But yeah, man, I really appreciate you talking with me.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it was fun chat, and I think you should change your title from Stupid Questions into Deep Questions.
Yeah. And no one would listen, right? And no one would say yes.
I was wondering, like, where were the stupid questions?
I know. Some of my family, they're like, look, when you started this thing, I was really hoping to hear some of the jokes and the comedy and the stupid questions come out. I'm like, I don't know. I just like getting deep with people, so. But yeah,
no, it's good. Like, yeah, enjoyed the chat, good questions, and yeah, hope everyone has enjoyed it as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much to Fred for coming on the pod and letting me ask some questions about his life. I don't know, maybe once in a while I should ask a stupid question, but I really do just really enjoy getting to know people on a deep level. And I don't know, I guess maybe you can ask some stupid questions to get there, but who knows? Maybe I'll think about it. But anyway, thank you so much to Fred for coming on the podcast and letting me dive into his life. Again, make sure to go check out his YouTube. Super cool videos there that he obviously spends a lot of energy and quality creation and creativity in making those happen, him and his team there. So make sure to check that out. If you want to sign up for a newsletter, also check out the show notes below. You can do that. Check out the Zone 2 stuff that's also in the show notes, and any and everything else that you can do to help continue to grow this podcast with me would be super helpful. If you're on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. If you are watching on Spotify or listening on Apple Podcasts, if you could also like, review, and leave any comments there, that really helps to continue to grow the pod. All right, guys, thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.